Hi, Lisa. Lovely to meet you at last. The idea of this small recording is for you to say a little bit about yourself, so that delegates coming to the 5th International Conference on Pluralistic Counselling and Psychotherapy can just get to know a little bit about you and what they can expect from you in terms of your keynote presentation. So I'm here in Scotland, here in Aberdeen, and you're over in Boston.
Boston, Massachusetts, yes.
Massachusetts, and that's at the Boston College of, yeah.
Exactly.
Great stuff. It's probably colder over there than it is here, I imagine. Is it?
It's cold but beautiful, very beautiful day today, and I'm delighted to be talking with you.
Great stuff, yeah. Okay, do you want to say a little bit about who you are, what your research and teaching background has been about?
Yes, and let me just start out by saying how really very excited I am to be sort of engaging with the ideas in pluralistic counseling, which are relatively new to me, but I just feel so many resonances. So thank you again for inviting me. So your question was, what? I just forgot your question.
So your research and education.
My research, let me jump right into that. Yeah, so I was trained as a clinical community psychologist back a million years ago. And what that is, it's training in being a researcher and a clinical psychologist, but also training in community psychology, which has to do with how we intervene in the context of people's lives rather than solely in the intrapsychic experience. I have always been interested both in people's subjective experience and sort of the sort of traditional purview of clinical psychology, and also in how our institutions and ideologies and policies can be transformed to make people's lives better.
Okay, yeah, interesting. And most of your research work has been around domestic violence, if I'm right.
It's been on intimate partner violence for my whole entire career, and how that experience is sort of differentially impacts different subgroups of survivors. I'm particularly interested in underserved communities, people who have been less well served by our mainstream institutions. Homeless people, low income people, queer communities, survivors of color. My research has sort of extended from sort of the mental health impact of domestic violence to how the unintended negative effects of our very efforts to support survivors across multiple systems.
So you're coming at it with a real social justice slant and concern there. Yeah, that's great.
Yes.
So in terms of the theme for this year's conference, as you're aware, it's on collaboration between individuals and across groups and communities, parents, carers, professionals. Do you have any thoughts on what you might feature in your presentation?
Yes, your very lovely invitation has gotten me thinking about how useful pluralistic concepts are to me in the kind of work I do. What I thought I might highlight is the ways that pluralistic counseling principles resonate so deeply with the principles of community-based participatory research, which is the approach to research that I tend to use, and also with domestic violence advocacy, which is the thing I have spent a lot of my life studying. I think in both cases, we don't use quite the same language, but the ideas really reverberate back and forth in this beautiful way. And so I thought that what I would do with my time is just share some stories about how I came to these principles and ideas, and the unbelievable mistakes found and mistakes I made along the way. So how I came to these ideas, and then specifically, I know collaboration is the theme for this particular conference. I wanted to share some of what we have learned in the context of community-based participatory research on the one hand, and domestic violence advocacy on the other, about the challenges and complexities and power of collaboration. It sounds really good. Collaboration sounds good on paper, but what is it and how do you do it? And what are the challenges to doing it? And where do you end up potentially harming people in your very, sort of even with your best intentions? And so I think that can be illustrated across these two domains of research and advocacy. And I'd like to try to do that and hopefully also create space for discussion.
That sounds brilliant, and we promise, I think, to be a really fascinating and informative contribution to the conference. I'll personally look forward to that myself. So thanks for taking this bit of time just to introduce yourself and to say a little bit about how you're looking forward to the conference yourself, and what you propose to some ideas you have presently for your proposed presentation. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you in June.
My pleasure. It will be fun to be there.